A terrifying new study has just revealed that the Canary Islands may be destroyed in just 28 years. This has got scientists baffled. So what's really happening here, and why do we need to take this so seriously? The Canary Islands are currently going through one of the largest volcanic eruptions that we have ever witnessed. But will it actually destroy the entire island chain? And if so, how long do we have before this happens? Well, we need to go back to the start to understand what's really going on here. The Canary Islands are a collection of islands off the northwest coast of Africa with a population of over 2.3 million people. The islands are a popular tourist destination known for their beautiful beaches, year-round sunshine, and rich culture. But did you know that they were formed by volcanic eruptions? Yes, that's right. Each of the 7 main islands was formed by a series of volcanic eruptions over millions of years. The majority of the islands are still volcanically active, and although no one lives in fear of a volcano eruption, it's always a possibility. In September 2021, scientists recorded an earthquake swarm on La Palma. At first, the earthquakes were quite deep, but gradually they migrated upwards and became more shallow. Then, at around 8:12 p.m. local time, the Cumbre Vieja volcano erupted for the first time in 50 years. As you can see from this footage, lava fountains erupted 200 meters into the air before flowing down the volcano. What followed was the longest volcanic eruption in the 21st century, lasting a total of 64 days. Luckily, the town closest to the volcano was evacuated in time, which saved many lives and properties. However, 2,600 hectares of land was covered by lava, destroying everything in its path. But while this was quite serious, it's nothing compared to what could happen in the future. A new scientific study has just uncovered a ticking time bomb underneath the islands. And it could mean that the islands could be destroyed within the next 28 years. In a recent paper published in the Journal of Geophysical Research, scientists reported that there is a magma reservoir underneath the entire island chain. They say that this magma chamber extends 30 kilometers beneath the seabed and is capable of producing enormous eruptions. So how did they come to this conclusion? Well, to image the magma chamber, researchers used seismic tomography. This technique involves generating images of the inside of the Earth by recording the movement of seismic waves. They achieved this by detecting the movement of tiny vibrations caused by 185 small earthquakes that occurred on La Palma between 2018 and 2021. By analyzing the way these seismic waves moved through the Earth, they were able to create a 3D model of the magma chamber. What they found was a large area of low-velocity material below the island. This suggests that the material had been partially molten, allowing the seismic waves to travel more quickly. What's interesting is that the magma chamber is located much deeper than previously thought. Most scientists believed that the magma chamber was only a few kilometers below the surface, but now it seems like it could be as deep as 30 kilometers. But if this is the case, why are we only just finding out about it now? Well, until recently, we didn't have the technology to study the magma chamber in such detail. Seismic tomography was only developed in the late 20th century, and it's still in its early stages of development. The thing is, we don't really know how big this magma chamber is or how much magma it contains. What we do know is that the magma chamber is capable of producing enormous volcanic eruptions. But how big are we talking about here? Well, let's look at the most famous supervolcano on Earth, Yellowstone. Over the past 2 million years, Yellowstone has had 3 super eruptions with an amazing force of over 1,000 cubic kilometers. To put that into perspective, the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia had a force of 160 cubic kilometers. So the eruptions at Yellowstone were up to 6 times bigger. Now, scientists believe that the magma chamber underneath the Canary Islands could produce an eruption with a similar magnitude. This would be catastrophic for the entire region. So when will this happen? Scientists estimate that there is a 1 in 28 chance of a super eruption occurring in the next 26,000 years. That means that there is a 99% chance that it won't happen. However, if it does occur, it will be the largest volcanic eruption in human history. The Canary Islands are home to over 2.3 million people, so in the event of a super eruption, thousands, if not millions of lives would be lost. Entire cities would be wiped off the map and the surrounding ocean would be devastated by pyroclastic flows. But will all of this actually happen? Well, we can only hope not. The Canary Islands are a beautiful place and it would be a tragedy if something were to happen to them. However, we should always be prepared for the worst. Natural disasters are a fact of life and we need to be ready for anything. You might be wondering why this hasn't happened already. After all, the islands have been around for millions of years. Well, the thing is that volcanoes don't just erupt because they want to. There are a number of factors that can trigger an eruption, including changes in the amount of pressure or temperature. For example, if magma rises from deep within the Earth's mantle, it can cause the pressure to rise. If the pressure rises above the strength of the rocks, then an eruption will occur. Another factor that can trigger an eruption is an increase in temperature. If the temperature of the magma increases, it becomes less dense and it's more likely to rise to the surface. So what can we do to prevent a super eruption? Well, unfortunately, not much. Eruptions are usually caused by natural processes that are beyond our control. However, we can take steps to mitigate the damage that they cause. One of the best things we can do is to monitor volcanoes closely. By monitoring volcanoes, we can identify warning signs of an eruption and evacuate people from the surrounding area. We can also develop early warning systems that give people enough time to escape. Another thing we can do is to educate people about volcanoes. Many people don't understand the risks associated with living near a volcano. By educating people, we can encourage them to take the necessary precautions. We can also develop building codes that take into account the potential impact of a volcanic eruption. So while we can't prevent volcanic eruptions, we can take steps to minimize their impact. It's important that we learn from past eruptions and use that knowledge to protect ourselves in the future. Volcanic eruptions are a powerful reminder of the forces of nature. While they can cause devastation, they also play an important role in shaping our planet. Let's just hope that the supervolcano under the Canary Islands doesn't erupt anytime soon. But what do you think? Do you think that the supervolcano will erupt? And if so, when do you think it will happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch my previous videos. Thanks for watching.